some ways this topic now that we're segueing to has been a little bit underreported. Dom's mainly going to take the wheel on this one. I think you got something that you want to start with this as well, or at least include. So I might as well just turn over the wheel to you. And I also talk the most on this damn show, so it's a good way to prevent voice fatigue. But I was gobsmacked by this, and I haven't read as much as I probably should on it, but I was gobsmacked when I saw it, because apparently HBO Max and Discovery Plus are looking to be combined into one platform. That's the headline of Variety. Now, what you may be thinking off of that note is that HBO Max, WarnerMedia, is going to acquire Discovery. That's the opposite of what's happening. Discovery is acquiring WarnerMedia. And I sent the article to these gentlemen, and I said, where the hell did Discovery get all this money? Like, I don't know a single person outside of my 83-year-old grandmother who has Discovery Plus. That's number one. Number two, I usually with these deals, you hear rumblings, you hear like sort of like, you know, leaks and news and whatnot about these things. I hadn't heard anything about this. Warner Media is a massive company too. And together, when it comes to platform demand shares for streaming video on demand, HBO and Discovery together are going to take up roughly, the math checks out, about 19%. By comparison, Hulu takes up 19.8% of the pie. Netflix second with 18.7%. Because also I think they factor into that, like, Hulu and like ESPN, like that sort of ordeal too. I think that's how they factor it. But this is going to be an even larger slice of the pie as well. And I think that this is going to be a really kind of an interesting development. And also too, with the Discovery merger with Warner Media, I'll throw this out there, the HBO Max chief, Andy Forssell, he's leaving Warner Media after this acquisition too. And he's been with HBO Max. I think he's been with HBO even before HBO Max was even a thing, back when it was going and now. But he was one of the guys who was tasked with like rolling out HBO Max and sort of, you know what I mean, the direction that this streamer was going to take. He's out after this acquisition. I'm throwing it over to Dom, though, for more contextualization. Whenever a topic that's very layered and dense comes up, I don't want to do too much thinking, so I have Dom educate me. So, Dom, enlighten me.
Thank you. No, wow, I really appreciate that.
I'm
real
honest.
quick,
That wasn't a joking lead-in either.
No, I know. Thank you. No, quick numbers from Wikipedia. These are like soft numbers, service level numbers. Warner Media operating revenue revenue for 2020 was $30 billion. That sounds right. Warner, right? Discovery, 10 billion. It's obviously under that 30 billion, but just the fact that Discovery Inc. had, like, when you think Discovery, you think, oh, the Discovery Channel, Mythbusters. That's it. No, dude. Joe, can you cut to this table here?
Yes, on the Wikipedia page.
Yes, dude. I believe it's ordered by households, viewership by millions. Dude, Discovery Channel, Food Network, HGTV, The Learning Channel, ironically called TLC, Animal Planet, Travel Channel, Oprah Winfrey, Chicago's own Oprah Winfrey, is not even the highest part of that chart. And to quote the Boondocks, bitches love Oprah.
It's a number one show, stay-at-home moms I have on while they vacuum.
I joke, but I grew up watching Oprah, so kudos to her. She's a tour de force. Yeah, dude. And from there, you get a little more, maybe not as well known, but that top half of that chart is huge in terms of like just what you think as television, right? And it's one of those things. It's like Viacom. For us, we know what that means, but for people who don't know what that is, look up Viacom. Probably look up Google Images and see like Viacom table or Viacom properties. It's like, oh yeah, that is both MTV and Rugrats. Cool. Okay. Right. I think. Right. Did I get that right? Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay. Yeah. So when these two merge together, when Discovery and Warner are now merged together, it's incredible how that Wikipedia article is now for Discovery Inc. was now. This is officially this broke, and now they will forever be known. Well, not forever, but from now on, they are known as oh my god, Warner Brothers Discovery. That is the full name, and it's you remember that joke in South Park, the latest COVID one, where it's like all these things are merging together plus.
Yeah.
Or
it's like
that.
What is it? Applebee's, Denny's Plus, or something like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
And it's like hey, South Park got it right again. That's literally what is happening here. That is how capitalism works. It's all joining together into one big or just a handful of things. But anyway, looking at this Verge article, which is pretty damn good. Steve really got the gist of it, but really what both teams are looking at here, this is the same old story we've been seeing since Sleepless with Steve came back on the air, which is that this is the streaming wars continue. This is another major bookmark that however many years from now, when you see that timeline of major mergers, this will definitely be one of them. And it keeps on happening. I think something to note is that as it keeps happening, the rate of which increases, the amount of public awareness of those things decreases, because there was that other big merger. Was it that happened like a half a year ago or something? I've already forgotten. See, but it's like there was some good grumblings about that, but this completely stealth, probably because of the Will Smith Oscars slap or whatever. But like this one is completely flying under the radar for something that is now $50 billion in worth. I don't really know the number of that, but it is a big freaking deal. Joe, can you go to that Verge article, Control F the word critically, and go to this paragraph here, which I think just highlights the dichotomy of both. Quote, at the same time, both companies specialize in two content businesses that seem, at least with respect to their studio legacies, at odds. HBO is renowned for critically acclaimed series like Euphoria and Watchmen. Discovery, meanwhile, is best known for its unscripted content. Think Ghost Hunting and 90 Day Fiancé. And that paragraph really just summarizes the how insane this is, at least from a cultural aspect. From a business standpoint, perfect sense, or at least for the rich sons of bitches in charge. But culturally, it's crazy, dude. This is like Thornton's and McDonald's getting together and being like, hey, yeah, let's put Thornton gas stations in front of every single right. Is that the right one? In front of every highway McDonald's, and here we are. So if you're not seeing it now, if you haven't been seeing it for the past X years, we are streaming is, once again, we'll say it one more time on this show, streaming is not quite the fully liberating thing. It is in many ways a liberating thing for us and how we consume it. But in terms of how the business is done, not a damn thing. The game stays exactly the same, baby. And here's another case of that.
Naked, afraid, and rich as shit. That is the motto of this new deal right here. Joe, any final words for this? Any opinions and stuff? I guess we'll see, because the integration seems to kind of still be TBD.
Right.
It kind of still seems to be like TBD how it's going to look. But I mean, if nothing else, I don't watch Discovery, if I haven't made that already abundantly clear by my lack of knowledge of how powerful they are. Like, I haven't watched a lot of Discovery personally, but I know obviously a lot of people like it. They don't get rich by not being successful. It just goes to show, though, that I still contend that HBO Max is the best streaming service out there. Yeah. Does this bolster this in your mind, Joe? Like, how you view this overall? Send us home with your thoughts.
I'm sorry, real quick. What do you mean by best? Define best in like what way?
I think HBO Max is probably the most diverse content catalog there. Okay, because when I look at it, you have everything HBO, which is already huge on the Richter scale of success in that. You have Cartoon Network and Adult Swim on there as well. But more, so you have the entertainment facets that contributes to both adult and, youth animation. Yes, TLC.
I mean TMC.
TMC.
Yeah.
TCM.
Design-
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, the outfit soup. Yes, that's what I keep trying to say. The last point I was going to make is that HBO Max, too, is one of the few streaming services. Paramount's done this a little bit, too. But TCM is part of HBO Max, and it's one of the few streaming services where you can actually get classic movies on there as well. Good luck finding anything older than like 80 on Netflix and Hulu. Like, good luck. So I think there's a preservation aspect. There's an accessibility aspect with HBO Max, too, that makes it better. And I also think the last thing I'll point is I think it also has probably the smoothest, most attractive interface.
Yes.
Of all the streaming apps that are on your TV. I've used it on my laptop and I've used it on TV. It's worked extremely well. It's clean. It's well presented. That's why I tell people, if you only can afford one streaming service, I'd go HBO Max.
I agree. I agree with the whole idea that HBO Max is the best one out of all the streaming services. Like a lot of people are like, but it's $15. I'm like, yeah, but no offense, even though Disney Plus, which they will argue with me that it's $8. It's very bare bones content on there, because here's the thing, we've all seen the Disney stuff growing up, so it's not like, oh man, I'm gonna get Disney Plus and I'm gonna binge all the Marvel movies for the 5th time. It's like, I'd rather go watch something that's like classic, stuff they haven't seen in a while, because HBO Max has that. They have something classic on there, stuff I haven't seen in a while, or it just has that diverse catalog, as Steve was saying, and I think this will add to it. I mean, I'll tell you right now, HBO Max has like literally like shows like stuff from the Food Network, 90 Day Fiance and stuff like that. Hell yeah, that's perfect background, like TV shows to throw on and everything. Now I have that part of the catalog as well as background noise, which will be all the Discovery stuff. I think it's cool to see something like that. Again, it's more companies are merging, more companies are acquiring one another. I'm questioning how much did Justice League really like mess up Warner Bros. In terms of like a financial failure that Discovery was like,
that's a good
we
point.
Can make our move.
Great point.
That's a good point. Yeah, my mind didn't even go 20 paces from that.
The only reason why I thought about that is because while researching about this and everything after you sent it, Steve, like, because I've been liking the Batman on Twitter with all the memes and everything, I've been seeing a lot of Snyder fans being like, they're doing it. Discovery is acquiring WarnerMedia to restore the Snyderverse. I'm just like, what is happening?